from the High Priestess, from the Minor Arcana, sorry. The suit of swords, the Two of Swords, shows a person sitting on a bench with a blindfold holding two swords. Often this is interpreted as indecision or considering options, both of which may be equal, but you're unsure, right? Maybe you don't know the full picture. You can also see it as needing to go inside and look at maybe a new way to approach the situation besides just two, right? So that's how I would take the Two of Swords as relating to that third invisible quality that's unspoken. And the Two of Wands shows a person standing on a balcony and looking out onto a globe or out into the horizon. And again, this is about a relationship between the world that we know and the unknown world, and the dynamic between those two. The Two of Cups shows two people, presumably exchanging cups. We don't know what's inside of them. It could be poison, it could be a delicious drink. So this is often seen as expressing one's feelings to another, right? Or as kind of a romantic card. This also can be having that aspect of the invisible quality where the divine is found between our relationships and between our relationships with each other, between people. Often I think of that as kind of community building. Even though this is shown as two people, there's still something invisible that ties us together as groups. And I do believe that we can understand the divine more through connecting and seeing the other perspectives that the people around us can bring. And I also associate the Suit of Cups with the spiritual experience. And then the last suit we have is the Two of Pentacles. Often this is seen as literally juggling, right? One's responsibilities or one's job with play, this type of thing. So we're dealing with a relationship between flexibility and chaos. You could also say we're dealing with work and joy, right? So there is a certain kind of relationship between these two things. That's communicating to us in a way, right? What our capabilities, what our limits are on a practical level. And then the next set that I wanted to do is the Hierophant. The next set I want to do is the Hierophant. So we have the Hierophant as number 5. 5 often represents challenge as well as learning, which is very interesting because there's this term, learning edges, right? So it's a place where it feels a little difficult, right? But that's where we have the most growth. In the Hierophant, it's often read as like the educational institution or the church, religion, dogma, kind of wisdom that's passed down to us and is maybe a little monolithic. I also see it as the process of seeking guidance and in a way confession, right? So these two people at the bottom could be bringing their worries to the Hierophant and seeking some sort of guidance or wisdom, some way to connect their spiritual vision with day-to-day practical matters. And then we see this reflected a bit in the 5s from the Minor Arcana. So with the 5 of Cups, we have the challenge of loss, what it feels like to lose things and experience impermanence in the world, and how to, look back on what we have that has been sustaining us, and that is joyful. And then we have the challenge of power, what it looks like to win or to have power over others, what it looks like to be defeated. Those are both learning edges as well, how that can be done with grace in either direction. With the 5 of Wands, here there's a challenge on how to assert one's willpower in a group or with others. Maybe we have differing opinions, differing visions. How do we reconcile that and come to some sort of harmony? So there's a learning edge there as well. And then with the 5 of Coins, we have two people that are kind of stuck outside of a church, perhaps, in the snow. And these two are dealing with the challenge of lack of physical material resources, whether that's health or food or money, right? So we experience those fluctuations in life too. And I often take this card too as the faith that keeps us going through that. You know, there's some hope, right? Or there's something will change in the future. It's said that there's no entryway into this church, so it's somehow inaccessible, and that this church maybe has a lot of money. That's a bit of a, maybe more of a negative read of it. I do see it as maybe there's a door around the church and they're seeking that door in their condition. So they're seeking a refuge, and you could say that they're not seeing it, or they still have a bit of a ways to go before they're able to access that refuge. So that's the challenge of material resources. So you can do this with all of the 1 magician to 10 of the major arcana, and then align them with the ace through 10 of the minor arcana. So I suggest taking out a card like the high priestess and then setting up the 4 cards from the minor arcana that are also 2s, and then trying to create a narrative out of that. See how these 2s might relate to a theme within the high priestess and relate to each other in different ways. So that's all for today. Thank you.